Yep.
All right.
Everybody's ready? I think we can get started.
Cool, you can go ahead.
All right.
Good down payment. Release. Come here for a second. They gave me a good pass. That's like way past what I'm used to. But they'll pay you. They'll still pay you soon, but it's just like, no, I can't hear you. I can't like, you know, get the research. I have to figure it out. So, was it hard finding?
I'm going to start it over.
Walking my way downtown.
All right. Perfect. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
We don't really need mics for your speech, but it's up to you. All right, cool. Hello, everyone. We're going to wait for everybody who's usually late. We're not going to wait, actually. We're going to get started with this speech, but for some new faces in the studio here, we got at least one person, or have you been here before?
Yeah, I've been here.
You've been here, okay, cool. Yeah, my name is Sardor. I'm here, one of the co-founders of GP Tuesday, along with Grant and Carlos, and other founding members in the sorry, cool. in the team. Anyways, welcome to GP Tuesday. Welcome to our, I don't even know which event it is. I used to do at one point, but we're almost 1 year in. In June, we're actually going to have our bigger event. We have to start announcing it soon. It's going to be second Tuesday of June. We're going to have 1 year anniversary of GP Tuesday. It's going to be fun. Yay.
Yeah, showing up.
That's coming up. Some exciting things there. Other than that, our online community is thriving. We're going to put up a QR code here for whoever hasn't joined. Oh, you're new here, right? I've been before. Oh, you have been before. Sorry, I haven't met you. My name is Sardor. Cool. Well, we'll have some new people. We'll have some OGs here who come every week, and that's what's cool about GP Tuesday, that we keep these every single week, which is no other event I think in Miami. Not only AI events, but like any other event does it, right? Maybe the happy hours, they're like imitating us. The Wednesday happy hours.
Those are easy.
Yeah.
Whenever like with this structure and presenters and speakers every week, we're learning all the time.
Exactly. But yeah, without further ado, for whoever's like relatively new to the community, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're gonna put up the QR code to join our online community, and I'm gonna have Grant, why don't you introduce our speaker today?
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming to GP Tuesday, and we're very excited to have Vlad speaking today. He's been here almost every single week for the past few months. He's very brilliant, building solutions from scratch, and now he's going to be showing us AI conversational agents over the phone. This is very exciting because the phone is a very popular modal that we're all using, and so it's very, very interesting to see it coming into our daily lives. So without further ado, we're excited. All of us here at GP Tuesday, Sardor, as in the whole community, to introduce Vlad. Thank you.
Let's go.
Hi everyone. I assume I don't need mic. Yeah.
Yeah, if everybody can hear, right? So.
Yeah.
So concept we can hear from translation.
Can someone hear me there?
I'm sure it's fine.
Okay. So yeah, just a small note. It will be not only like phone agents. It will be, that's why I renamed it to conversation agent.
Right.
Or voice. So it means like almost all companies that does phone agents, they like immediately implement web agents or whatever. So yeah, this will be the presentation. Small agenda, we will talk about like current companies who build this solution, like approaches that they use, how those approaches work, and like basically current like modern challenges that they face. And after that, probably we will have time. We will like play around like current solutions, try to run something live, whatever. So yeah, like small introduction. As Grant said, I'm like software engineer and solution architect, like mostly AWS, a lot of certification and something like that. I like to build projects. So two of them right now I'm working on is like those two with cute icons. One for real estate and one is related to AI voice agent. Small blog and a lot of other projects. If someone wants to join to build those, welcome. I love different stuff like diving, coffee, sport, whatever. So yeah, it's a short story about me. And yeah, so right to the topic. I tried to scrape like internet and find different like projects. Part of them I've used, part of them I've like saw a lot of from social media. Some I just recently discovered. So yeah, I've split it in some obvious two columns. You can see that like all left column it's related to something AI over voice, AI over like something related to voice conversation, and right similar project but like not backed by YC. So as we can see, it's like modern popular topics that YC think would be huge. YC it's Y Combinator, the biggest accelerator for startups in not San Francisco but Silicon Valley. Yeah. So yeah, like I've used. Yeah, I've used multiple of them. They have like most of them they have same approach, but also like recently like GPT for all was published with full demos, and I also discovered like Google Project Astra. It's kind of same demos that GPT for all like hyped for.
That's what they released at the I/O the next day. Is that what they released at the Google I/O the next day?
I think so. Yeah. So I don't remember when they released it, but like yeah,
Okay.
they have this separate like project Astros where they. I will show a few like images from there. But yeah. So here are like a lot of demos that we can see. I like few of them. So it's like all of them different companies. So here's like GPT-4o, Blend AI. This is Play AI or Play HD. Oh no, it's Vocal. So that published to Product Hunt Prank GPT that will call and prank your friends.
That's awesome.
Oh, there used to be a service like that with real humans. They hired like people in India, I think, to call your friends. I swear to God, there was an app like that.
It was the Amazon Go app where
Oh, was it?
you would go to the little store and then they would like charge you based upon what you took without a checkout process. They said it was powered by AI, but no, it was just a bunch of Indian people watching you.
Oh, that also, yeah. But there was like actual prank service that you could like pay, put in your friend's number, and they would call like prank them based on different scenarios you choose.
I know on Reddit you can like post something awful about your friend, and a lot of people just will call because of he's like not the best person. Especially works for landlords.
Yeah.
Because I've seen few like subreddits for that. Yeah, and like this one is so yeah, if we can probably the best one is like GPT-4 and like Project Astra. I believe most of people saw like GPT-4o, so we can like just to have some idea, see.
Okay, let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
I see a speaker, which makes sound.
What is that part of the speaker called?
That is the tweeter. It produces high-frequency sounds.
Give me a creative alliteration about these.
Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions. It seems to use AES-CDC key encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector, ID.
That's right. What neighborhood do you think I'm in?
This appears to be the King's Cross area of London. It is known for its railway station and transportation connections.
Do you remember where you saw my glasses?
Yes, I do. Your glasses were on the desk near a red apple.
You don't remember where you saw my glasses?
What can I add here to make this system faster?
Adding a cache between the server and database could improve speed.
What does this remind you of?
Schrodinger's cat.
Alright, give me a band name for this duo.
Golden stripes.
Nice.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
Imagine having like glasses that will do this.
Yeah, but glasses, no so big difference with phone.
Yeah, but
I mean-
you don't have to carry your phone anymore.
Yeah, so same process, but yeah, kind of cool idea, cool implementation. GPT-4o is like more about like more human-like interaction, emotions, whatever. Here, like more like different use cases with videos inside and interacting, and you saw like memory of like images. Yeah, so other companies they also do like different. Here's my small demo. I also built. So yeah, and small number of use cases I found provided by Vapi AI website. So with different like voice conversation AI, you can build a lot of tools, calls like inbound, outbound. So inbound, like when someone receives a calls, it's like different like barbershop, dental office, restaurants, realtor offices, insurance companies, many more. Like outbound calls, mostly like sales calls when you call someone or follow up on calls. So a lot of such use cases, voice interfaces. I like this one because I I'm active member of YC Matching, and I discovered guy and he's in sales and he wanted to build like sales roleplay, and I've seen multiple of such projects. So like this one, so it's like when you simulate like some sales process with AI. So you are a salesperson, you train, and you want to train your pitch, whatever. Like multiple such project I've seen like also YC guys doing like AI therapies or like companions, and discovered interesting cases with voice IoT, like particular AI toys. Probably a lot of questions regarding privacy and security. Yeah, and like guard for like a guard part, it's like something that can like limit and scope your module just to avoid a lot of strange stuff that big companies do. Like cars, home assistant, whatever. Like Apple announced that they will partner with OpenAI somehow, probably related somehow to GPT-4o, and some kind of potential substitution for Siri. But yeah, so a lot of things you can do around like voice interfaces. Yeah. So, and here like more technical stuff starts where, so most of these like companies have the same approach called orchestration. So basically what they do, they like combine multiple models, third-party models, or build their own models into one system, and they like start to like so-called orchestrate or some kind of their intermediate between those systems. So they like get voice from humans, they process it and send to one server. After that, like they get the results sent to another server, and doing such stuff between like multiple third-party servers. But there is like also much more like sophisticated money necessary stuff. It's like voice to text. So it's something similar that like it's multimodal approach where like you don't use LLM, large language model, as intermediate. You just send like audio file, like audio stream into this model, and it will process like it as like naturally and output like either text or voice. So there's like I know one at least voice to text model. So it consumes audio and provides like text output, or I assume, I don't know, they didn't write like in particular, I didn't see like something like GPT-4o potentially can output directly not text but voice, but like yeah, potentially it will be at least in future definitely, but probably not right now. So and like there is interesting, fun, not so popular, like interesting project. There's also Gazelle 0.2, and yeah, a few slides from Project Aster from Google. It's like small description how second approach works. So how like you've seen like they use like interaction with video, with voice, with like yeah, video and voice mostly. So they like how it's like works. They like do transform video into like different chunks and set of frames. They send it to model. They extract audio. They send it to model. It processes everything, like in context of these images, in context of this voice, and after that, like they provide like an output. Most likely text because like you've heard like it's more like not so human-like, so they don't care about like text-to-speech part at the moment, I assume. Like and yeah, just to make it much faster, they cache information. Somehow probably it's some kind of similarity of like RAG or like vector database inside. I don't have context about that, but yeah, it's how it's high level internally works. Second approach is much more straightforward. So I extracted 3 different parts, like it's 3 different projects, like and it's kind of probably not so obvious from like first sight, but basically 3 different projects, but absolutely same approach. So this one is open source low code. This is what I've built, and this is Vapi. So and absolutely same approach. So everything works in this way. So we have a transcriber part. It's something that can translate audio, like voice, into text. So transcriber part does this part of like all the system work. Second part is like large language model or intelligence. It's basically like ChatGPT or whatever other model they can use. It can be open source model, like some kind of proprietary or whatever. So it basically transforms text to text. So it gets like what you said, like a user said, and provides answer to that based on some context. And second part is like we want not text output, but like voice output. So we need to transform the text into speech. And because of that, we have this last part, text to speech. Like for human, like most of like companies use 11 labs because it's like probably the best quality there, but also the most expensive one, almost 10 times more expensive than competitors. Yeah, but they do a good job in sense of like some kind of emotions, in sense of like realistically, in sense of real-time transcription. Yeah, and like open source projects like work like the same. We can see here model, we can see here like transcriber, we can see here agent, synthesizer. It's like a synthesizer is like we synthesize speak, like this model. So here is like what kind of data flow do we have, like the same idea but in different forms. So basically how it works, like as a data flow, we have like user voice input. So it's basically, let's say, when I have a call or like web interface where I talk to, I say something. We have something like stream processor or some part that should get this voice. So it could be, if it's phone call, it's usually Twilio or I forgot second company.
Telnix?
No. It starts from V.
Twilio.
Twilio, it's, yeah, what I named. There's a popular one for Europe.
Vodafone.
V, right? You said?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah.
You should ask AI.
Well, for example, if it's web, it's usually something related to WebRTC, so it could be whatever, and it translates that to like this orchestrator server, and this orchestrator server after that like does real-time transcriber. Most of projects use DeepGram. Some of them use. I have this list. I forgot. Okay, DeepGram is like one of the good representatives of because they do have a lot of useful stuff for real-time transcription. Because as you saw and will see, before there was a little bit more complicated interface because like first stuff I've built, you need to say something after that click to identify that you stopped speaking. And this is part like called VAD that will identify in transcriber that some event happened, like user starts speaking, user stops speaking, user, I don't know, user like did a big pause, whatever. And it's important part because we need to understand like what happened to this like conversation flow. After like we get this text and like we identify that something happened, like user stops speaking, we can stream this data to large language model. Let's say it's OpenAI, like Llama 3, whatever, and it can like, let's say we don't have, we do have like just responses as a text. We get this text, and there is interesting part, like they can do work in two different modes. One of them it's like streaming mode. It's when you get like in ChatGPT, you start receiving your response as like some pieces of text. So they like type you. It's like, so you get your data chunk by chunk, like continuously until like end. Or you can do like just a simple request response. You will send all the chunk of data, and they will you will wait while they generate your response, and you will receive all the response immediately, like not immediately, at once. So let's say instead of like seeing typing, you will wait like this loader, and after that got like big chunk of text. So this is difference in interfaces. At these models, as you can understand, like second one is not the best because yeah, I will explain it like after I will explain all the parts. Here's like function calling manager. It's like, it's kind of add to this LLM response generator because we can use it for like, it's kind of a modern common part of different LLMs, so they can do like function calling, so-called, or actions or tools, whatever. So what it means, you can program or like prompt LLM to do particular actions if it thinks it necessary to do. Let's say for like calls, simple example, let's say you like build an appointment setter for like whatever, like dental clinic, and you need like to like ask different question and like set an appointment. So function calling is when you can use external system to like execute some logic. So it can be like this external system can be like whatever outside of this code, or it can be some kind of just piece of code. Yeah.
Do you run both of these calls like currently?
Which one?
When I'm doing the conversation,
Okay.
say please book me an appointment. I'll also want to hear a response that not only
Sure. Yeah. So good question.
In what order does this happen?
Usually, I will show like one of approaches how like such thing works. So usually how it does like it will goes like here, and on LLM part, it will identify I need to do a function call. So you will get here on orchestrator part, you will get I need to do a function call. At that part, if your system is programmed in that way, if you want to do this function call, respond to client this one. So, and it will split, like one part will go to function call, and one part will either go back to LLM to generate response, or go, if it's like static response, let's say if I want to book a call, like it will say, let me check the schedule. And it will go to text-to-speech and provide response to the client, while it generates this function call that can take seconds, let's say, whatever. And after that, when this function call happen, it will return to LLM with response. So let's say if I successfully book an appointment, I will go back to LLM, say, okay, action is done, everything is okay, and it will generate, okay, your some response, something like, okay, your appointment is scheduled for blah blah blah, and after that, like system orchestrate data to text-to-speech generation, so it will vocalize what LLM produced, and after that we will go back to user through like our interface. If it's phone, it will go back to Twilio or whatever. If it's web, it will go back through WebSocket, WebRTC, whatever, and user can hear the answer. So it's basically how this user flow works from like voice to hear something, some voice back.
So you're using the auto feature when you're doing. I presume you're using OpenAI as a.
Yeah. I've started build with something simple. So OpenAI is most of this in simple part, because let's say for Llama 3 I played around it, but Llama 3 doesn't support function calling in streaming mode. So you cannot like do function calling in streaming mode for Llama 3 right now. So
Why would you need that?
it supports tools in general. So Llama 3 can support tools, but if you it has like same interface as OpenAI, like because most of models they like do have this interface. And I use like Wrapper as Llama to run this. And if you try to run Llama 3 in this system, and you so you can choose one of those modes, streaming or like just request response. If you choose streaming, it doesn't support function calling in that part.
Why would you need streaming to do function call?
Because I don't know initially if it would be a function call, if it would be a response.
Oh, I see. You're parsing from the LLM to determine if you need a function call.
Yeah, so basically how function calling in streaming mode works, it like basically, what is function calling? It's like LLM was taught to produce particular structured data that I will say what structure particular to LLM initially. I will say if you need to do book an appointment, you need to call like this function with these parameters. And function calling, if it thinks it needs to do it, it will provide me a structured, like called JSON structured output with call me this function with these parameters. And like in streaming, you can parse if it's like this JSON you need or not. And yeah, like right now I face this problem.
Why not just do a function call initially to determine like, do I need to do a function call based on the user's input? Based on that. Okay.
But yeah, it's a good point. I will mention something similar later when we will talk about state management. Okay, so it's like high level how like such system works in sense of like if we talk about orchestration above. Any questions? Okay. And here like challenges that like usually such system faces. Some of them I put in a column like potentially solutions are present, and some of them like existing challenges or poorly built systems that are not fully like represented in current model. So like latency optimization, like most of these like production ready tools, especially if you don't use like phone interface but use web interface, they are pretty fast. So like less than 1 second latency if you use like web interface, less than 2 second latency if you use phone interface, because it's 0.7 1 second of latency, and it's kind of a lot. Interruption, so like what I mean for interruption, and let's say you start talking, you stop talking, you start hearing response, and you say, oh, so, nothing like that. Because it, and the model, like your AI agent will understand that you interrupted, you start speaking, and it will like shut up and start like continue listening to you. It's also like pretty straightforward implementation, so it's like listen if you start speaking, or like did just a big pause and you need to continue. But they really don't work in like one flow I mentioned here, like this one. Like function calling, what we talked about, it execute different external logic, like book an appointment, the most straightforward, the obvious one, like check calendar, but also like more, let's say you want to create your data analytics over phone and or sales analytics, and you, oh, what were our sales last month? It will go into database, run some logic on top of that, and can do something like that. Knowledge vector databases, it's how we can extend like knowledge for like model if we don't want to fine tuning. It's like it adds some latency, but yeah, it can extend like what your system knows much more about the system. Like if you want to build a huge like customer support and it doesn't fit into like context. Also, big context provides a lot of latency. If you will do like this size of context, it will be pretty fast. If you will do this context, it will be like much slower. But knowledge, but yeah, it's kind of knowledge and vector databases is basically also like function calling, but specific type. Multilingual support, it's like when you like, you can talk not only to English agent, but also to Spanish, German, whatever, because like most of them, like as we can see here, so we can use this part to transcribe like whatever language we want. We can like LLM works with whatever language we want and can find, and same for text to speech generation, same. Because like if you can find something that can transcribe Spanish, you can find some like model that can understand Spanish, and you can find something that can answer Spanish. You have like this Spanish one. The problem, second one here, like I didn't find like multilingual interaction inside one call. So it can be built with like multiple of these parts that works in parallel, multiple of these parts, multiple of this, like not multiple because let's say LLM can understand sometimes multiple language in one context, but the problem are here because I didn't find like multilingual transcriber if you don't specify the language. Yeah. So let's say if you call somewhere, you discover you don't want to speak English, but you want to switch to German inside one call. Probably it can work right now. Oh, sorry, I have another agent that can speak German. I will transfer the call to German bot. And it just switch bots and switch part of the system, and it will start to speak it to you German. Word transfer, it's like when I've seen it like as experimental feature for Volcode is open source AI agent. For calls, it's when you start to talk to AI agent. You have like conversation goals, and after that it decides if human need to be injected in the speech from like side of like not caller, but like from side of like company or to whom they will call, instead of to substitute AI agent. And it will like warmly inject human into the speech and remove like AI. Yeah, I don't know exactly how it works, like in sense of humans start to understand what was speech about before that. But yeah, just to toggle, like switch from AI to human, it's pretty straightforward, because like let's say if it's Twilio, you just need to redirect stream and like call human and say, okay, you need to talk to this one. But yeah, how human could understand what was the speech before about, yeah, it's like questions how it works. And conversation set management, I've seen a kind of good implementation in sense of interface, but not so great in sense of how it works. From Blend AI, I will show it. So it's basically when you have like a particular structure, how do you want your conversation go? So not general, you are like real estate agent that sells or buy houses, and you need to determine this information, and you have random way of conversation goes. So here you can structure conversation, like let's say if you have your SOP, standard operation procedure for like your customer support center or whatever, and you have like particular flow of conversation, and on this state you need to identify this information, here you need to identify this information. So you have a structure of call, and you can, like right now there are like at least one implementation, but I assume will be much more, because it's kind of cool features that probably necessary for a lot of use cases. Yeah, it's how it works right now. So it's basically also powered by LLM. So it's like what Alex mentioned here. We like have additional layer inside this system for LLMs that can understand should we switch to another state or keep going in this state. And yeah, it was about challenges that I've seen some way of like good solution or something that can work, and something that is like much poorly built or like I didn't find them. It's like non-textual details. It's related for all orchestration models right now because they don't support emotion, sarcasm, whatever. So because they do a transcription, it loses a lot of non-textual information. So if you said really, or oh really, it doesn't care. It will be just text really. Emotion expression is from other side. If you've seen like GPT-4o, it's a cool presentation of like emotion expression. Other than that, I didn't see any. So because like, yeah, it cannot laugh, it cannot like express something except like excitement, but it's like almost poor in sense of emotion. Non-natural flow of conversation. Simple example, if you like, you need to talk to this model. If you, let's say, wait for 1 minute, in most of the cases, it will just wait for your speech. It will not say, oh yeah, are you here? Or something like that. And if you just will silent, or if you drop your phone and after that like recover it, it won't like do any natural flow of conversation. Or like, yeah, like we usually won't interrupt you. Sometimes it can do like short answers, like okay, I see that, but still not like, you don't feel like a natural conversation. So it's more like for more like customer support or appointment, whatever, more like where you don't need to feel this human interaction. And what I'm transferring. Again, realistic conversational video avatar soon, I believe from GPT-4. or Hagen or whatever, because yeah, it probably will be the next step to realistically soundly like model. They would like to put a face on top of that, so to feel more personal, whatever. Yeah.
Is this limitation from LLM side or from builder side?
Which one?
Like for master size?
Depends. So it's like, if we talk about orchestration approach, it's like because how the system is built. So because we transcribe like straightforward transcriptions, they just transcribe audio to text without like losing like context. I believe there are models that can add like some information about like expressions. I remember some project, Human. Yeah, that can identify emotion, like, or some non-textual context. It can be like used here. I don't know about like how good it works in sense of like in general like detection of emotions, and also it potentially can increase latency a lot. So it could be a problem because probably you would prefer, it depends on use case, probably you would prefer just to talk without emotion to some like appointment booker instead of like, and hear like real-time response instead of waiting for 5 seconds with like some understanding of your emotions. So it depends.
So you, as a builder, you have to wait for the large companies like OpenAI, you have to update these models to get all those features you just want to kind of, where you want to create like.
It depends. Different companies have different approach. So let's say I mentioned here current project. So those guys, they wait. These guys, they wait. We have these guys. They partially wait because they initially started as Play HD, if I'm not mistaken. The same company. So they do have their own model related to voice. So they have transcriber and they have synthesizer. So they care about, like, they wait only for LLMs, but probably they will start to create their own. So it's a question here about approaches they do, because here they care about open source, about like providing different necessary feature for enterprises. Blind AI also care about like serving enterprises. So if they don't care about like inside like the model, let's say GPT-4 like will provide this API, it will be good for pricing, good for latency, whatever, they will just inject. So because strategically they will use best model they can. Some of them they will, like Play AI, I believe they will build their model. Some of them they don't need it. They just serve like problems and try to solve them instead of building something like those companies do. So like Teamcans AI, they built model. So they built voice to text model. And they have good demo, but it's non-phone, but it's like real-time conversation with like laptop. It's pretty fast, and it's voice to text. So like it serves like voice just inside the model, and it will provide text. And other companies just use case, don't recommend area, they're bothering. I didn't like it. Here. Any, did I answer the question? Okay. And yeah, right now we can try multiple projects if we have some time and want to do that. I can share something about how some of them are built. First, I like this one. I mentioned this is like Blend AI. And I like this part. So those guys, I didn't like how they work because they have strange cases. So I needed like to call them like 5-10 times to record one demo because of like different cases. But they have this cool
Vlad,
feature.
people online are asking you to zoom in
Oh, sure,
on the
sure.
slides.
Yeah, I want to generally
Can I zoom in
explain.
here?
And we will remove this part. So basically, it's when I. Oh, I see. Basically, when I mention state management, this guys they focused on this state management because it's important, I believe, for many enterprises. And what they build this conversation flow state management where you can build like how do you want to structure your flow. And they built like such kind of nodes where you can like show your like conversation flow and like how you can switch from one node to another. You like explain everything in like natural language. It's like most likely, I believe, other companies will just copy similar approach if need. Basically, how it can be built, you just add additional LLM. I think it could be done something with Grow because it's fast and cheap. And you can evaluate based on your conversation if you still should be in this node or you should transfer your call to this node, or if it's multiple ways to transfer, to which node you should transfer your call. They also have global nodes, so it's something like global context or knowledge base, whatever, so it's something like general about your company. So I don't remember if I had like any here, I didn't have. So here I've like built a simple appointment setter for moving company. It's like, I believe we can try to send call now. You can set different like variables. So most of calls they are unique. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember. Okay, we'll just send call like this. I think that's it. Yeah.
Am I talking to Vlad?
Yeah, it's Vlad.
I'm calling regarding the moving form you submitted on our website. I wanted to go over a few details to ensure we provide the best service possible. Is this a good time to talk for a few minutes?
No, it's not the best time.
I understand. Would you like me to call back at a later time? If so, what time would be best for you?
No, don't call me.
Thank you for your time. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Pretty realistic.
Sorry?
Pretty realistic.
Yeah. So here you saw like here we have this like real-time flow as a chat, and here you saw like how the conversation go from state to state. This was a good demo because like initially, sometimes if it's like not according to this like general flow, so it couldn't recognize that the address I've set. So I said I need to particular building, and it started just to jump to different states without even identifying like particular information it needed. So a lot of work should be done here. I had like multiple interesting cases. I have a video about them when it just looked on this node. So we just started to look here, whatever you can say, you don't care. Like it just started to okay.
Can every state go to any other state?
No, you here, like if you don't see, you here can connect states that you need, and you can have like I just talk about this tool. So other tool, I didn't see similar implementations there, but I believe they will inject because this is cool. They have global nodes that can be accessible from any like node. But basically, this is like if you're here, you can go to whatever is connected or global node. Also, they have different types of nodes for. I didn't put here like webhooks, so function calling. And the because of quality, I like this tool better, and to me it's a little bit simpler, but they have different problem. They don't have this cool feature of state control, so but you can build here like simple voice also bots, and they have different. It's more like for developers also. Like they do pretty straightforward proprietary orchestration, and here you can just choose a model you want to use. They have a lot of support for different tools like popular OpenAI, Grok, custom LLMs. But with custom LLMs, I know the guy, he said like it doesn't work as expected. So yeah, it's strange. But same idea, you can set up your agent and choose whatever you want, set up like external functions you need to call, and they show you approximate latency you will have and what part has like what latency. And here is like, where is, oh, it's not web. So yeah, here if we choose anything, I forgot what, here is not, if we switch it to 12, it introduced 600 milliseconds, just to Vonash, oh yeah, I was trying to remember this name, it's also
Terrible.
Huh?
That's pretty bad.
But I believe a lot of people use it.
No,
so,
I get it.
and yeah, so basically they orchestrate, I believe the same as Blend does.
You think Blend is faster?
I can't even speak on this one.
They're pretty similar. So there is a YouTube video where a guy, he did like absolutely same 3 agents for 3 different tools. It was Synthesia AI, Vapi, and Blend. The best one in sense of latency was Vapi, but like it was 0.1 second. That in real conversation you don't care. So it's basically for all of them it was somewhere around 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds to time to first byte. So it means when you start hearing something from a model. And what I remember I discussed with Alex, some of those models they uses fast first byte. So it means they start to answer you with something small, like okay, yeah, or something like that, just to, because it can be chunked fast, sent to text to speech, and you can get this answer pretty fast. And after that, it can like get all other chunks, transcribe it, and it has a stuff.
It's a good trick.
Yeah. So they're like and also the project I mentioned, if someone wants to like deploy by himself, here's like product in open source. As I mentioned, they build in the same way, and they support Vertex, GPT for all, Anthropic, whatever. And yeah, you can deploy your own. I was working on building similar for a hackathon. Not sure if I will continue to work on it, but probably will. Yeah, so any questions? Yeah.
What do you think is in your opinion, best way to handle a conversation statement? Like the way Vlad is doing it, with having a giant tree, little nodes and nodes everywhere, or one big prompt, a function calling?
Both could work. It depends. So as I mentioned, I believe for enterprises, Blend focus on enterprise, they stated. In enterprise, you have standard operation procedure. So you have like when you like train your, let's say, customer support, you have like particular like set of like you have algorithms. So in this case, they built a pretty cool way because you have this flow and you know it in advance. In this case, it's much easier to control scope. It's much easier to provide in each node as much information as you need for that particular state. If we talk about general conversation, let's say you build AI therapist, it's not like common flow conversations that you know in advance. And there, yeah, it's better probably to build like something like all of them built, like you provide this prompt about UI, whatever, and a lot of things you need to know. Fine-tune your model if you need, and just try to build something around that to make it like to provide some limitation for a model. And yeah, it will be much better in sense of the conversation can go in any way, and you won't like limit it. So I believe it depends on use case. That's why I showed like different like approaches. Blend AI has the same like Vapi does. Like you can just provide such prompt that it was initially there. So all of those tools they have like this approach, but Blend AI is the only one I've discovered with the state management. And Vapi has like this cool tools where you can see what part introduce what latency, what part introduce what costs, and yeah, whatever. Regarding costs, yeah. Right now, most of them cost around like $9 to $15 per hour. Yeah, it's just a random information.
For state management, you mentioned that Bland, you saw it go into a loop one time. So the state management, the interface is nice, right? And
okay.
It logically like helps you separate the state, but it doesn't actually assure you that you're not going to fall into a loop, it seems. Is that correct?
It depends. Yeah, on practice, like I've talked to a few founders, so like not I talked to a guy who talked to a founder of one of those tools. They run a similar model, but I believe for track shoes. They have like problems. They said, okay, right now I can process 90% of codes, but the scale is pretty small. The problem is with big scale, even if you can, like, it will face much more edge cases, more strange, like problems like noise. So I try to talk in a noisy environment. If you don't have like something denoiser or whatever, you will like on a hackathon we had a problem because it was huge noise environment. I tried to talk about like booking an appointment for haircut, and it thought I talk about pizza. So and it just like what problems you start to face at a scale. And they said like right now we process 90% of calls without human interaction. Like at scale we will probably process like 70%. And yeah, it will be improved, but like a lot of calls still should have this thing in mind that it can be like fun.
Yeah.
So you need to understand like how to either transfer or like process this call in a way, assuming this call can be like can go somewhere not as it expected. So because yeah, I faced even with Blend AI multiple different cases I mentioned when like okay, here we have like looping in one node. I don't know why, because I was like in a silent room. I tried to speak like slow and like correct, like yes, I'm Vlad, I am. Like, and it's I don't know why. So it's like random stuff. Also, I don't like Blend AI when you just like when you like push red button on your phone when it calls you. It will wait for 3 minutes, send you a voicemail, and charge you 50 cents for a call that was not happening. And it's like from perspective of business, I don't think like people like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like all these companies they are pretty new.
Yeah.
So we'll see. No questions.
Any companies particularly better with accents?
Sorry?
Like any companies handle better accents? Or
I believe it depends depends on something like DeepGram or other similar like transcribers, because we can try. Oh, it's here.
Hi, am I talking to Vlad?
Yes, I think you're talking to Vlad.
Great. Hello, Vlad. My name is Evan, and I'm a real estate professional. I hope you're doing well today. The purpose of my call is to explore if you might be interested in exploring the value your property could bring in today's market. Are you open to discussing this further?
I don't understand what you're saying. Can I talk to another agent?
I apologize if I didn't explain myself clearly. Of course, I can connect you with another agent if you prefer. However, I would be happy to provide you with some valuable insights about the current real estate market and how it may impact the value of your property.
I don't understand you.
Understanding the market trends can be...
I don't understand you. Your English is pretty bad. Please try to connect me with another agent.
I apologize if my language skills are not meeting your expectations. I understand that effective communication is important.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, so I mean, as you can see, it can process good like Ukrainian, like or Russian
perfect
accent. But yeah, it depends. Probably some accents or words it can process, but yeah, it depends on like transcribe model. They use like here is like DeepGram. They do it pretty good. One of the best one on the market since 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Also YC company. Yep. So yeah.
You presented some list of other companies that are doing it, and there was one that was specialized in HVAC and AC. Did you look into them? I wonder why, or like what their
I did actually.
value prop is.
Apparently they're like they're not doing only that. They have with Yelp and Google My Business, and
So there's a niche, yeah.
Yeah, and they bundle this in.
So they're leveraging the AI.
Yeah, so basically all of them, what they do, they somehow try to provide like voice conversation agent. So it depends. Some of them, they build like models. Like those guys, they try to build fundamentally models that will like remove every like either remove competitors or force them to use them. Like some of them, they build like orchestrator and go to enterprise. If you get like enterprise client, it will less likely churn. Some of them, they try to focus on particular niche. So here like one is like drive-through conversation. Basically same thing but for drive-through. So it means like they will try to build their like distribution for drive-through companies. Like some of them, like yeah, you mentioned this one, HVAC. So area is a focus on agencies. If you like leave something on their website, I mentioned them, sales agent will start to call you every day, 3 times a day, until you twice or 3 times don't talk to them, stop calling them. For some reason, they don't use AI to call them. They use agent, like they use sales. It's strange market of such company to me. And yeah, so these guys, they also have, if I'm not mistaken, they also have some kind of flow and state management. They do have different like model to sell. They have subscription model. Those guys have like pay as you go model. So different things to differentiate.
Are there any like services that can do like screening calls that can stop companies like Area for me? Do you know?
Well, what do you mean?
Like I don't want Area to call me, but I know they're gonna call me anyway.
I thought about like building something like for personal usage. Like yeah, you can like get a call and start. But basically, you can build like with WAPI or whatever.
Mine does too, the Google like screen call, but it's kind of dumb. They'll just like record and transcribe.
Agent call to speak to them.
Yeah, they want something smarter.
to see
Yeah,
like,
it's
if it's actually
Was
like,
Vlad one to filter them
something
out?
I know.
This is
I
like,
don't know. I haven't seen one.
yeah, it's kind of pretty straightforward thing to
coming.
do. Yeah, I mean, with like whatever of these tools, you can probably build it for like 1 day. I mean, like MVP version, not like production fully ready, but like, I mean, it's easy. Like you need just to provide. The only problem I see is with transferring phone number. But let's say if it's not a problem, you will just provide a phone number. It will answer initially, and inside you can provide the logic. Okay, don't pass me sales guys for whatever like of this list. But if it's something else, just transfer a call to me, and it will do something like whatever of these companies can do. Yeah.
Federal do not call list. FTC has a list and you look at nationwide. And if somebody called you, and you're on that list, I'm pretty sure that could be exported.
So Blend AI, Volcode AI, or Volcode Devs, they do have support because they focus on enterprise customers and like external cold calls. They support do not call list, and I forget how it's called. So yeah, they as they
There's
provide.
federal and state. So
Huh?
there's two different do not call lists. You want to register yourself on the state list and also the federal.
Yeah, I mean they like do this part of like whatever like they provide to clients. They have this list. They check their phone. Let's say you say I need to call this like 10,000 people and provide them like try to sell them my service. They will do this job for you in sense of screening against do not call list, against whatever. So I've definitely seen here and here this like service.
And if they call you and you're on the do not call list, I'm like $10,000, buddy, and $5,000 per text. You want to keep going on this phone call or hang up? Kind of incentivizes them to hang up.
Yeah. There's also a list of so there's a do not call list. I forgot. Add-ons. Oh yeah, TCPA protection. Yeah, checks block phone numbers, TCPA lawsuits. So if I'm not mistaken, TCPA lawsuits, it's when someone called you and you started sue them for that. So it means this person you definitely don't want to call. And there are lists that you can buy of such cases and people, and it will like screen against them. So they just have the service just here because they focus on enterprise. So
That's actually not, but that's supposed to be a default feature soon. TCPA protection. It needs to be because Twilio is going through. Twilio just got pulled into a large lawsuit for calling people based, but it's not them calling people. Obviously, it's the service providers behind their service that's calling people. So they just got dragged into a huge lawsuit this week about this. So it is an important thing that we need to keep be mindful of as developers to make sure that we do stay within compliance of consumer laws. Because as developers, a lot of times forget that there's a whole consumer wall out there and there's a lot of consumer rules and regulations. So it's important that we at least mindful of it.
yeah, and the thing is like
But what you were talking about is only for individuals, not for corporations.
You can register anyone.
Really?
yeah, but the problem is let's say if you do a follow-up calls, it's okay because they are kind of your client. But if you cold call them, yeah.
Right. It's a cold calling situation. That's the problem.
Do you need a
Even
consent?
as a B2B?
B2B is a little bit different right now.
Yeah, I think.
So unless you register your phone number, you won't have, unless the business registers their phone number, it won't be an issue. You can cold call. I mean, that's what, trust me, I'm very close with Blend. So there's thousands and thousands of calls being made to businesses across the country every second, right? And those are not an issue. It's annoying, but it's not the same as a consumer. There's also like issues with time and day that you're calling people also. So again, I mean, as developers, we just have to be mindful of the process. And but if you do it right, there's a lot of money behind it. So
Yeah, and this is a huge opportunity. The voice thing is massive.
Yeah, because here, like you can, let's say you can differentiate if you don't like just do, because some of those companies they provide like a tool for developers to build. So let's say like Vlad, they don't do like calls themselves. They provide a service to build something that do phone calls, but you can build big CRM with phone calls, follow-ups, SMS, emails, whatever. You can build an engagement system with a client. You can, like, I don't know, a lot of things around that, yeah. So.
Yeah, so for like political campaigns, for example, there is a company that I know they're like, you know, they're hired by certain candidates to robocall a bunch of people. And the business owner, he had to completely change his operating model because they're with the FTC, like, do not call us, he had to find different creative ways. So he's like, oh, I'm shifting my entire strategy now to just email because of all these kind of barriers. And once he works
For
something
email,
out-
there is also a similar law, but like it's much less strict.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And it also kind of goes by the folders and junk, like resorted.
Yeah, but like let's say simple tool like Alex mentioned, it can be built pretty fast, and for busy guys, it can process like 90% of calls. If you have like you receive such part.
Or to be like a secretary kind of for yourself.
Yeah, so it's like I will process and can schedule something for you. If it's like a known number of your friend, let's say, I don't need to be injected. I can directly send it to you. Or well, different use cases. So it just my goal was to describe how it works, what do we have in the market, and yeah, what we can build.
I'm just curious in general, does software tooling exist to proxy calls? Like, can I call one number, like have a conversation with this one number and then say like, oh, I actually wanted to call Vlad, can you proxy me, almost like a telephone operator?
It's similar, like almost similar like dialer works. Or do you mean
You mean like a you mean like a warm transfer?
Yeah, kind of. And so like, the reason why would be like for a normal business, there would be like an extension number, call like a specific desk or something like that. But let's say in the secretary kind of like example, you want to like talk.
Oh, it's when you are like lazy to talk to your phone, call me Jane. You need to call someone, say call me Jane, yeah?
Yeah, kind of say
Because I believe Google just like if you use like your phone and say call me Jane or someone, it will call it. If it's from your contact list.
Actually,
I believe it's the same you talk about, but when you call a particular number, it has a list of contacts, like remote one, and it does basically the same. It will just do there is here in the presentation one of the companies. It's not like particularly all companies, but it's here. It's Dial. So it's mostly for like sales or whatever. I put it here because it's like it also processes voicemails. It identifies if human starts to answer you or like a bot, like if.
The real hidden purpose I was trying to like allude to was usually if I don't want to give away my personal phone number, I'll use something like Google Voice. But I was curious if there's a way using all the existing tooling you're talking about to have some public number.
Okay.
That like people can call through, and then conversation, all the audio will get transparently hidden. Your real number will actually get like will be hidden from the outside, and sort of this is like no Google Voice involved.
There's a lot of proxy services that do that already. Like you can purchase where like if you wanted, for instance, sales agencies that a lot or skip tracers. Right, where they don't want to use their real phone number, they'll call into another number, and from there they can dial out as any number that they want, or they can spoof a number. Sometimes what they'll do is either they spoof your local area code, or they'll spoof your local area code plus your three-digit prefix, or they might just go in and just type in any number you want. So in those scenarios, I want to use that for that. I want to use a voice AI for this just because of the cost. But for those services, there's tons of different services out there that you can, like spoofcall.com does it, where you can just call into a proxy number, and from that proxy number you can call out to anywhere you want. I didn't mean to like jump in.
Yeah, totally okay.
But can I make one little tiny correction to something you said?
Sure.
So with Bland, one thing that I can say is that the multilingual aspect of it is actually pretty good if you do the right prompting. If you set it up the right, because I mean I live in Bland pretty much because I work with the company, but if you set your prompts up right and properly, and you use the right voice, you can have a multilingual conversation. For instance, I do roof calls and like a lot of different.
Like here.
Yes. No, but you could choose the voice using a voice ID. You could choose the voice that you want.
Yeah, but if I start speak German or like Russian to it, it won't understand.
So here's a use case that we often run into.
Okay.
For instance, somebody, especially here in Miami, where the conversation may start off in English, and then when they want to talk about the roof or they want to talk about some type of repair that needs to be done, it magically switches over to Spanish, but then it will come back to English. So that's one of the things we've been building for, and like I can say, I mean, I can do a demonstration another time if somebody wants to see it after this. But there are demonstrations I can show you, and I can show you personally too, of how to set up your prompt in a way where it can switch languages mid-flight. Because they would also switch into Spanish, or you can set it up so it listens for a certain time in that certain language. And for instance, they start off in English, they switch to Spanish for a moment, but they go back to English. It will continue the conversation in English unless the conversation continues in Spanish. I would have to kind of demonstrate it, but I can assure you that it works. It's something that we focus on. A lot of times been put into that.
Yeah, the pretty straightforward way I thought to build it, but it's increased like expensiveness of the model is when you like just do on this step. So here you can have multiple of this, like of different languages. So one will listen to Spanish, one will listen to English, and whatever you think is correct, you can after that like identify language and put it into the model you need. And yeah, I can build such demo like if you want and demonstrate it also. But yeah, it's I mean I didn't see like from this interface. It's not obvious that you can build something multilingual.
Yeah, I had a similar thing because in the interface it does show like English, Spanish, right? So it's like okay, maybe only one language. But and I started putting some examples, for example, and putting the examples of like okay, they're talking in Spanish, then it says okay, your response is in Spanish, or you could just like be very explicit in the rules, and it will start to become multilingual.
Okay.
But it's very interesting that you bring up the different transcribers. So you're thinking that that's probably maybe what these systems are doing in the background
because
potentially?
let's say I use DeepGram, some of those companies use DeepGram, and when you check speech to text, and you start to, okay, it's more like developer and documentation part. DeepGram languages. Okay, yeah, but here you also like provide like English, Spanish. I tried to like just use this one for Spanish. Like when I said English, it didn't understand it, and vice versa. So I see like this is a bottleneck, but yeah, you can re-implement it. I just didn't see the interface. But yeah, it's not so like big, difficult part that like let's say like emotions.
Very cool.
There are scenarios where you do want to explicitly define the language, right? Especially if you're coming in as German, or you're coming in as a special type of Chinese or whatever it may be, right? So certain instances where going back and forth is not common, when you want to explicitly declare a certain language, and the phone number is you can say this is a German line or this is whatever line. There are use cases for that, you know, and like you said, you can see from the drop-down menu which encoder you want to use. So it really depends on the use case, right?
Yeah, I like your earlier suggestion too, because I was thinking of this as well. Of because when we're talking to a human, what is natural? I would say natural is okay. You're talking to a human, they're speaking one language.
And I can interrupt you here.
Yeah, then you can interrupt, or I can transfer you to another person. It's pretty natural to be okay. Then if they just start speaking in many different languages. So this is kind of an interesting thing to think about. It's like, although they have the capability to speak multilingual, do you want it to, potentially? So.
Yeah, it depends. For example, for like Ukrainian people, it's usual when we can let's say I speak Russian most of the time, but sometimes you switch to Ukrainian naturally.
Right.
Like particular words, phrases, whatever. Sometimes you don't remember words Russian, Ukrainian, but you remember English, and you're like, okay, you will start a phrase in English. So yeah, for like multilingual people, it's pretty common.
Right, absolutely.
Do you have since you've used a lot of these? First of all, I think this is dope. I didn't come in at the very beginning, but I think this is dope. This has been an industry that I've been deeply invested in, and to see somebody who's looking at it from such a wide perspective, I think it's super dope. I think that's amazing. So I definitely kudos to that. So is there any particular tool, like the way you operate right now? Are you choosing certain tools for certain business cases? If, for instance, are you saying, okay, I'm going to use Bland for this type of transaction, or I'm going to use this tool for this, or I'm going to use this tool for that? Have you thought about do you have something in your mind based on whatever the request is that you're going to use, or do you have loyalty to a particular brand right now? You just stick to that.
So yeah, I've used like multiple of them. Vocode I've discovered like a few days ago while I was preparing the presentation, and the idea here was like I've tried Blend, I've tried Wapi, liked and disliked some parts, and like okay, I want to build something similar because it's really pretty straightforward. So I spent 1/2 weeks. Vadim a little bit helped to me in some parts, and yeah, we had MVP for simple demo hackathon, but it's not production version. Okay, but here what answering to your question, it was I will recommend it to some guys that has moving company. Okay, I need structure. I will recommend Blend just because of cool feature. I need for one of my friends, I recommended. He was trying to build. He started to build GPT therapist or something like that, and he's not a coder. He just wants something out of box. I recommend. Okay, you can try Vapi. First, it's general conversation. Second, they have out of box widget, web widget. You don't need to code. You just build an OpenAI assistant. You build it no code. You got some piece of code. You inject it into the page. You have something works. He did it for 1 week. After I told him, he said, okay, something works. Not perfectly because, as I mentioned, custom models, they state that they support it, but support is pretty, he couldn't manage it based on docs. So yeah, I like those two ones. Other than that, they have different purposes. So most of them, yeah, those two I've tried, I like. Potentially in future, those will be the most used. But that's what I've said. It depends. Here, you can pretty fast build whatever. It's not so difficult to build. The idea here is if you set up your distribution. So as I mentioned, Vapi for developers, Blend AI for enterprises. Vocode, developers, big open source community, whatever. Play AI similar, but they have their own model. like here, guys will in 1 year they will present. Okay, we provide the cheapest, best model. You cannot compete with us. They will switch. So that's kind of the idea. So depends on case.
Yeah, very cool. All right, everyone. Congratulations. That was amazing. Thank you so much. So that was another amazing GP Tuesday. I believe we learned so much about voice AI and all the different systems that come into play. If everyone can please do us a favor and share what happened today. Please talk about it, share it on Instagram, Twitter. Getting more people involved so we can help educate more people on AI is going to be critical. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. You know, every week we get to, you know, learn more and more and meet so many amazing people in this community. And there's so much that Miami and the world has to offer. And every week we do this. We launched this about, what, 1 year ago now?
Over a year.
Oh, right, just about then, right? And, you know, Kadas and Sardor, we launched this, our co-founders, about last year. And so we're extremely excited for the anniversary, which is coming up in around 2 weeks. So please join us there. And yeah, without further ado, you know, again, thank you so much. Let's give us a round of applause.
Thank you, Vlad.
I know we all learned a lot. And we're going to put up the QR code. Is that
Yeah,
right?
for the Telegram group.
Excellent. Yeah, so we have a Telegram group every week. You know, if you have any questions, just want to talk to the community, feel free to talk there. And yeah, I guess that's going to the next phase.
Oh, and there's sponsorship opportunities too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to jump in and support us.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Now we're going to move on to the next section, which is just good old communication and getting to know each other. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're done. Bye, YouTube Live.